I dip in and out of the conscious community because all they do is fight, and there's so many kinks that have to be ironed out before you can take them seriously. So this is something that I just came across, but I want to use it to make a point that's rarely addressed. I want you to really analyze this statement, okay, because it speaks to what's going on in our communities. And it's something to keep in mind. This is why when I hear people talk about all the babies that these women have, that is the symptom. What is the cause, in the sense that women give birth to children? So I don't want to hear about how these black women have kids all over the place. Because if men could give birth to children, black men would have statistics that mirror or even maybe surpass the statistics of black women. And that is evident by how many black men have multiple baby mothers. Now, I'm bringing this up because someone I love and respect, and I'm not condemning this man, I want to speak to men in the sense of giving them advice of how women think, because I see a lot of men falling into this trap. So you have Dr. Umar Johnson, who, again, like I said, I love him. He's an alpha male. It doesn't take away any of the knowledge he has given to the community. I still respect him. I have to understand that humans are weak. They just can't help themselves. And I'm sure in the heat of the moment, just based on listening to him, you know, he was just driven by sex, and he listened to these two women tell him that they're on birth control. You never listen to a woman tell you they're on birth control unless it's your wife, and if she gets pregnant, you are already with her. Okay, most women who get pregnant and have a child by a man, they are not going to be okay with you saying, okay, I don't want to deal with you, you know, I want to see the child and be a part of the child's life, but I don't really want to deal with you. They will become revengeful. When will men get that through their head? When will men get that through their head? And though I love Dr. Umar Johnson, he can be a great example of this phenomenon and what's really going on in the community. Because I would think it's safe to say, I mean, I'm a little scared because he said one of his baby mamas was living at home with her mother. And that's kind of weird. I hope he's not indicating she was real young. But I would think it's safe to say that these weren't hood rat women, and he was attracted to them for some reason, and hopefully it wasn't just physical. But after these women became pregnant, he made it clear he didn't want to have a relationship with them. Now, I'm sure these women can feel the energy that he would have kept sleeping with them, but when they became pregnant, he had to take a stance and say, I want to be involved with my child's life, but I don't want to have a relationship with you. So one of the baby mamas became revengeful. You have to understand that that is more than likely going to happen, because a woman feels used when you get her pregnant, and it takes two, but then says, I don't want anything to do with you. Okay, a child is permanent, and they'll feel like it's sort of like you crapped on them and moved on. And that's how a lot of women feel. And they feel like they have to get the man back in some way. They'll say, why does he get to be free and move on, and I have to be left with the kids, and I have to be reminded that I wasn't good enough? I mean, these men literally move on to other women. Like, nah, I don't want you. Sorry, knocked you up. You got a child for the rest of your life. And yeah, I want to see the child, but you take care of the child. Throw you some money, but you're not good enough. I'm going to get another woman. These women lose their mind. When are you going to get that through your head? That does not work. And what blows my mind is the real negative men who they don't want to have anything to do with the woman or the child. That's when the woman might pee and doo-doo in your house. I read a comment and this guy said he tried to leave the woman and she broke in his house and peed and doo-dooed in his house. You gotta start asking yourself why these women act like this. It's unbelievable. Now, of course, that's psychotic, and she really snapped. But just getting back to how most of these women react, you know, you can't totally villainize these women. You have to look at it from their standpoint, just to lighten it a little bit. And maybe for some of you, it won't be lightening it. A lot of y'all have spent money on women, and how do you feel when the woman's like, thank you, but you can move on. I'm going on to another man. Thanks for all you've done and all the things you brought me and all the times you helped me with my rent or helped me get my car fixed. But yeah, whatever. You can go now. I'm moving on to somebody else. Though, how does that make you feel? So I don't condone this woman's actions. You always have to have pride and respect for yourself. Now, I luckily had a mom who my dad married. So all of this is foreign to me. Like going out into the world and witnessing so many women who have had to deal with men laying down with them in such a pure state. Because it's not always the case of what Dr. Umar Johnson claims. He said the women said they were on birth control. A lot of times there's not a discussion about birth control. You have two people who get caught up in the heat of the moment and they lay down in a pure way, meaning they just have sex with each other. And then when the woman gets pregnant, he's like, no, I don't want to deal with you. I'm moving on. And these women, they lose their mind. Do you know something? How do you expect a woman to be sane in that way? It's like she gave herself openly, and you're like, nah, I don't want to deal with you. Sorry. It's like torture for these women. It's unbelievable. Especially, like I said, when birth control wasn't discussed, it's sort of like you came together in a raw state, but you're not willing to stand by the outcome of that. Because there's an outcome to that sometimes. But anyway, so of course she threatened him based on him not wanting to be in a relationship with her. She became vicious and spread rumors about him and things like that. But I love this man. He's an alpha male. I love this man. He said he refused to become hateful. He'll never allow a woman to make him hate other women, or even a man to make him hate black women. See, that's what a lot of y'all do. He understands the situation. It's sad that it had to happen to him twice. I want to ask y'all, how powerful is sex to you guys that you lose your senses? You better use your mind. You better use your brain, because these things will affect you. You can't crap on these women and they not do something. They're going to get you. They're going to get you in some way. They're going to figure out how to make your life miserable. How dare you knock me up and move on to another woman, is what these women are thinking. They're going to get you. I want men to think about that. Never have sex with a woman without protection if you're not married. Even if she says she's on birth control, you better use a condom. Okay, you better find a way to make that exciting. Take a few seconds to put one on. And because I'm telling you, as a woman, even though I've never been through anything like that, I can feel the energy of what these women go through. And it's like crapping on these women. Okay, you're leaving them with something that's permanent that they could have had with another man who truly wanted to be with them, but they're having a child with a man that doesn't really want to be with them, and they have to constantly be reminded that they were good enough to sleep with. They got pregnant, and the guy's telling her, I want to have a relationship with my child, but you're not good enough. You can go. I don't want to deal with you. I'm going to move on to another woman. You know, these women snap mentally. You can't villainize these women. And we got a whole community full of these women. Some of your mothers were these women. You know how hurt your mother was. You should never want another woman to go through what your mother went through. This is sad, real sad. You would think of all men that Dr. Umar Johnson would have been able to control himself, and he has more self-discipline than the average man. But like I said, it just confirms what I said. Stop talking about how many kids these women have, okay? Because women give birth to children. If black men gave birth to children, if men was able to give birth, a lot of black men would have kids all over the place. Just like a lot of black men have multiple mothers when it comes to their children. So again, you can't really just look at the symptoms. And he demonstrates that. He demonstrates that. He did it twice. You know, some men do it more. Hopefully he learned his lesson. I mean, he's really an alpha male, so a lot of women will have their eyes set on him. So he has to exercise more self-control than the average man. Oh, I shouldn't say that. Average men need to do that too. Look at our community. I don't know what some of y'all are thinking. You can't do that to a woman. What? How do you expect? I want, right in the comment area, how do you expect a woman to get over that and just deal with that? You know, of course I can't take you into pregnancy. You know, I've never been pregnant, but I can feel the energy of pregnancy. Sometimes I touch my belly button. A woman's belly button feels differently than a man, because that's what a child connects itself to. And it's a process. These women are pregnant for 9 months and they give birth to life, even though they love the child. It's a constant reminder how the father didn't want anything to do with me. Your father didn't want anything to do with me. I'm not good enough. He's with another woman now. It's hard. You need to think about that. Do not sleep with a woman without birth control. Don't listen to a woman if she says she's on birth control, unless you in some deep relationship and you know that if she gets pregnant you wouldn't mind. A lot of women, they'll claim it's okay with having no protection during sex, but it's not until their emotions get the best of them, until they really feel the energy like, oh my gosh, I'm pregnant and he don't want to have anything to do with me. Talking about he want to have something to do with the child but not me. What about me? And then they change on you. Their whole demeanor, what they said they was okay with, they change. They'll change on you and they'll take it out on you. So you need to know that. And God help you if you don't want to have anything to do with her or the child. You know, some of these women will really stick it to you then. But I don't know. Of course I have to say I'm speaking on the lowest vibration. Okay, because you should only sleep with someone who you really connect with. But I have to address the average person who has not mastered control over their mind and body. Poor Dr. Umar Johnson. Like I said, it don't take away from the knowledge he's brought to the community to me. I think, like I said, it's a good example of how he's nothing but a man at the end of the day. And men in this era, it's hard for them to have self-control. You know, that's something, when I have a son, I want to teach him at an early age the power of self-control. You got to have it, because you'll be destroyed. So there's a lot of women that's against Dr. Umar Johnson now, because they are like the baby mama who he's attempting or has left behind. They can relate to her more because that has happened to them. So I hope that he can carry on, and I hope this hasn't been too much of a blow to his reputation. But I need for black men to understand and learn from these situations. I've always been the type of person, I could learn from what other people go through. I don't have to go through it. Hopefully you can too. Anyway, signing out.